Our mountain snowpack is a fraction of what it should be right now. And Washington state leaders are warning this El Nino year could mean drought conditions well into spring and summer. All this week on Environment Northwest, we're taking a look at the shrinking snowpack and its impact on Washington, Oregon, and Idaho. Tonight, meteorologist Leah Pizzetti shows us where things stand in the Cascades.
You hear the headlines, warmest year on record, hottest summer, and yes, those are noteworthy events, but some Northwest researchers are discovering that it's other overlooked periods that may be more significant and have a domino effect on things like snowpack moving forward.
Let's go do it.
These ski instructors are in their element.
Thank you.
In the elements.
And it was snowing outside the building earlier.
Which so far this year haven't been ideal.
We could really use some cooperation from Mother Nature.
Jim Smith's father founded ski school Snow Sports Northwest at Snoqualmie Pass in the 60s.
So it's doing the trick.
Scott Goddard was hired by his dad in the 80s.
You know, remember we're trying to put 150 kids onto a much smaller area right now.
Yep, it's condensing the area because of the lack of available runs.
In their decades here, they've seen good and bad years. They knew El Nino meant this year wouldn't be great, and it's not. The USDA shows Washington's snow in the Cascades sits around half of normal, and the Olympics sits less than a third of normal.
We're less than half of what we had last year for sure.
Now they're navigating the terrain.
It almost makes me think that we might have to move the season out.
But even the good recent years don't compare to their childhood, growing up skiing this same mountain.
We're consistently every year up here in the middle of November.
We've lost the month on either end of the season.
The timeline of that gradual melting is a subject Washington State University's PhD candidate Luke Reyes is devoting his studies to.
Every year there seems to be these new sort of extreme events and record seasons or months.
His team's newly published research initially set out to analyze the impacts of the Northwest 2021 heat dome on the snowpack, when temperatures skyrocketed into triple digits for days straight and killed hundreds in the Northwest.
People would post like before and after pictures of they would be hiking on Mount St. Helens or Mount Rainier, and there'd be snow one day and then there was nothing there a week later.
But when they looked at the numbers, they realized something huge. The heat dome is not the reason the snow melted that year.
That was still mostly gone by the time the heat dome arrived, which suggested to us that something else might have been happening.
Weaker, less headline-worthy periods of warm temperatures chipped away at the snowpack before the heat dome arrived. Events that have doubled in frequency since the 90s.
Sometimes these short-term, really acute events can be overlooked.
That warming is having an impact here in the Northwest. Data from the EPA shows that Washington's snowpack has been decreasing significantly since the 1950s. On average, anywhere from 20 to 30%, but in some cases, as much as 50 to 60%. And projections show that due to warming temperatures, a lot of that winter precipitation will fall as rain instead of snow, further reducing the snowpack. And the snow season is shortening too. Peak snowpack usually hits on April 1st, but in recent years, that's changed. Anywhere from 1 to 3 weeks earlier now. And it's not just the snowpack, it's glaciers also. One recent study projects that all glaciers on the Olympic Peninsula will be gone by 2070, with a similar situation in the Cascades.
A University of Washington report projects the snow season in the Cascades to decrease by half by the end of the 21st century, dropping from the historical 142 days of snow in the late 1900s to 87 days by the 2080s. And while these pros are navigating the decline and adjusting their teaching timeline, they're not stopping.
I haven't worked a day since I started in the ski business.
Yeah, who else can talk about this is my office right here, right?
Hoping that with every lesson taught and mountain skied, they're teaching kids to be in their element, in the elements.
We'll just keep plugging along and waking up every day and looking for that next dump,
For Environment Northwest,
All right.
I'm meteorologist Leah Pizzetti.
The impact of the Cascades is felt far beyond the mountain range. And as our shrinking snowpack coverage continues tomorrow, I'm going to break down how the Cascades impact snow totals here in eastern Washington, Oregon, and Idaho. Plus, I'm going to explain why the shrinking snowpack is not exactly new to our region.